All right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Joe. How's it going, sir?
Going well.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And I understand you're into pottery and have an Etsy shop. Where can the people find you?
It's on Etsy. It would be Joe Alanoff, Alanouf. But you can also find me on Instagram at Red Wolf underscore pottery.
Nice.
I've
Okay.
got an old account that I can't delete, so it's the underscore pottery.
That gets
Oh
you
no,
right.
ceramic. Red Wolf underscore ceramics.
Okay. All right, cool. And I'll put that information in the description below so people can find it.
Really?
Appreciate that. Yeah, man. And before we get started, I want everybody to like the channel, subscribe to all your cool friends, all that stuff you guys got to do in YouTube land. Joe, let me ask you, music lover?
Big time.
Nice, nice. Vinyl collector?
Hugely.
Let me ask you this firstly, how hard was it for you to narrow down five?
It was difficult. I wasn't sure if I was going to go down a nostalgic route or the albums that really influenced me and that I just could listen to anytime. And I think I picked really well. I mean, I'm looking at them and these are solid albums that I can listen to anytime.
Nice. All right, cool. And as far as vinyl goes, the records that you're going to show us, have you seen any of them perform live before?
Yes, two of them actually.
Oh, nice. Okay, when we get there, definitely we'll talk about that. Um, do you remember the first vinyl record that you ever bought?
My first one I inherited through my parents, and that's actually one of them right
Oh,
here.
nice. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The original one? You inherited.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So growing up, that leads me to believe that the parents, mom or dad, had a record player. Who was the primary listener of vinyl back when you were growing up?
Well, kind of neither of them. They
Hmm.
definitely did when they were dating or before I was born. But when I was in high school and growing up, these few records were just laying around, but I don't even remember there being a record player in the house. So
Hmm.
this was like the last one. And when I got a record player, probably my sophomore year in high school, I tested this out and I loved it. And I
Hmm.
still love this band and this
Hmm.
this album.
Okay. Is that record store, music store still around that you bought it from?
No, I actually didn't buy this one. It was just in the house. So it's
Okay.
like my first record.
Hmm.
My
Okay.
first record I bought though could have been something like the record store I used to go to a lot was Fingerprints before I
Hmm.
discovered the swap meet.
Hmm.
And it could have been something along the lines of Bob Geldof or Yes, Close to the Edge. That's like some of the first ones I definitely bought.
Hmm. Okay. And in your record buying heyday, did you have a favorite record store to go to?
The swap meet.
Okay. What's what's
Yeah,
what's
the
special
swap
about
meet.
this one?
Well, the swap meet, it's kind of dried up now, but when we're talking like the early 2000s in that time period, I mean, they're all a dollar, or sometimes I'd
Hmm.
find them in the trash and I'd find records that not only was I blown away by, but then I'd go into a record store and see them up on the wall. And I
Hmm.
said, "Oh, I paid a dollar for that."
Hmm.
And I remember one time a friend said, "Oh, well, it can't be that good a condition." I'm like, "Actually, it's in mint condition."
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Like
Okay.
99% of my vinyl came from the swap meet.
Okay. Um, how many pieces of vinyl do you think you walked out with at one time? Like the most in
There
any
was a
trip? Yeah.
I remember like there'd be times where I would leave with like good albums too, with like 30 or 40.
Wow.
I had a bag and it would just be stuffed and I'd be trying
Mm.
to balance it on my handlebars riding back home.
Right. Because records are not small. I get it.
No.
Okay. Okay. And um, Joe, this is top five vinyl. I need you to show me number five. What is the fifth vinyl record that you have in front of you?
I'm gonna go with this one here. Let me take it out of this here. So his name was Sean Delaney,
Mm.
and he was actually the manager for Kiss at one point, but this record, I had found the empty sleeve for it, and it was hanging on my wall for a long time. And then I actually found it again and said, "Well, let me listen to it. I've always been curious. The album cover is very Dolly-esque, but man,
Mm,
this album is amazing. It's really deep, and a lot of the songs have to deal with loneliness and drinking, and it's just a beautiful album. It's stark, it's poetic, it's he's a piano player, but I mean there's a full band to it. And this album is definitely one of my favorite albums. I mean, it's one of those ones that like it'll make you cry almost. You're
mm.
just like, oh God, you're talking to my heart right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. All right. So that's your number five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
Number four, I'm gonna have to go with Sid Barrett, Opal.
Mm,
Now, Sid Barrett was the founding member of Pink Floyd, and due to psychiatric problems, schizophrenia, and induced heavily by LSD, he was cut from the band. But this was one of my first records I bought,
mm,
and I bought at a record store. And when I was in high school when I bought this, and I had done a lot of reading about him, and when I found it, I thought it was so cool, and I still love it. Um, it just these are outtakes from his two solo albums he did, and I feel like it has like the kind of like the stark innocence, it's
mm,
songs that just are they're outtakes or songs that weren't used, but it's just a really good album. It's
mm.
primarily acoustic.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there any artwork in the back of that one? It looks like it swings open. Does it open up?
Yeah, so here's the back. It's just
Okay.
kind of one picture, and
Okay.
then it's a gatefold, and then it just has liner notes from the
Mm,
like the session paperwork.
gotcha. Okay. All right. Nice. All right. And that was your number four. Let's go
Mhm.
ahead and take a look at your number three.
Number three, I'm gonna go with this one, Westworld.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, it's hard to find anything about these guys. I know that one of these guys, what's his name? Durwood Anderson, he was in X and several other bands that I'm not that familiar with other than X, but this band is so unique. They classify themselves as beatbox rock and roll,
Hmm.
and it's one of those albums that came out in 1988. And at that time there was like this fresh new sound happening
Hmm.
where it's like nobody sounds like that. And it's like post-punk new wave, but then there's like this beatbox rap thing almost happening with some of the songs, and it's just really cool. It's very unique.
Hmm.
I have another album by them on CD, but this one is excellent. And I don't think they perform that much. And
Hmm.
I mean, the only video of them, it's them like just lip syncing. I think there's one
Hmm.
video of them on Top of the Pops.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Excellent group.
Okay. So that was number three. We saw five, four, and three. Have you seen five, four, or three live before?
Um, no,
Okay.
because Westworld stopped playing before, I don't know, a long time ago. Sid Barrett stopped playing forever ago, and Sean Delaney's gone.
Hmm.
But the last two I have seen perform.
Nice. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. So let's take a look at your number two.
All right. Number two is John Mayall. John Mayall formed the Blues Breakers, and he was like the seminal figure for people like Peter Green, Mick Taylor, Eric Clapton, Coco Montoya. All these guys played with him,
Hmm.
and this was the album that like led me into the blues. He's a British guy, and when I heard this album, I immediately said, I want to learn how to play the
Hmm.
harmonica. And I did. I had a blues band called Blues Dreary,
Hmm.
and wasn't bad. It was a good time. This album is good though. I love it. I
Hmm.
have most of his albums. I've seen him perform probably four times, and he has passed away since. But I'm honored. And though I didn't get this album autographed, I've had him autograph several
Oh,
records
wow.
every time I saw him.
Hmm.
Always starstruck when I met the guy. I
Hmm.
didn't know what to say to him.
Right, right. Like a little kid. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
Okay.
felt dumb.
It's all about the memories. That's your
Yeah,
number
and I
two.
remember I
Yep.
met Art. I remember meeting Art Garfunkel one time. Snuck backstage and I had a conversation with him. But when I
Mm.
met this guy, I was for a loss for words.
That's funny. All right, cool. That was your number two. Let's go ahead and take a look at the grand finale. Joe, what do we have for number one?
England Dan and John Ford Coley.
Hmm.
So this is like soft rock, or I guess the common term now is yacht rock.
Right.
This record belonged to my parents. I think it was my mom's, and it is just it's feel good music. The songs are about missed love, heartache, finding yourself. And recently, I saw John Ford Coley perform at the Whiskey a Go Go. I went. I wasn't sure how the show was going to go because it was all these punk girl bands and
Hmm.
Jerry Carey from the Runaways was playing, and I'm thinking, how is this going to fit in? He says he's on the bill, but then she mentioned how she loved this group, and he came out and played a song with them.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
didn't get his autograph, and I couldn't get close enough to talk to him. But when I'm having a bad day, man,
Hmm.
I love this music. It just speaks to my heart.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice. All right,
But I
cool.
have very eclectic taste. To limit yourself to one genre or one thing, you're cheating yourself.
Exactly. I agree. Yep. And before we go, I want you to show the people, if you don't mind, some of your artwork because those were amazing pieces that you showed me before we started recording.
Yeah, let me show you. Let's see here.
Yeah.
So I make tiki mugs and tiki cups. Here's one here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's got kind of like a bat thing happening here. This one actually just sold on Etsy.
Hmm.
Um, Here's another one here.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Nice.
Yeah, and these
Nice.
are really lightweight and they're food safe. Here's a
Hmm.
mug. This one very Castle Gray Skullish.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, just like anything else, I do a lot of different things with my pottery, and I also do paper mache sculptures. I can't sit. I like to stay busy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
If
I
I'm
get it.
not working, I'm at the pottery studio or I'm at band practice.
Nice. Okay.
hmm In
All right,
fact, I
cool.
almost put one of my albums in the top five
Hey, I wouldn't have
as a
been mad if
cheat
you did.
code. My
That's cool.
band's name is Shaitan, by the way.
How do you spell that?
Shatan.
Gotcha.
It's
All
like
right.
dark rock, very Black Sabbath meets Hawkwind.
Nice. All
Mhm.
right, cool. All right, Joe, I appreciate you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks
Oh
for
yeah,
the
man.
invite.
Absolutely. You have a good one. We'll talk soon.
All right. Have
Yeah,
a great
man.
one.
You too.